Who's at your
There's a brown chair right here.
Okay, I'm gonna slide it a little bit out of the way.
I don't want to be the center of attention.
That's probably bad.
Got some glitter on it.
Oh, that's right.
We slept when we were stand up.
If anybody else comes in, if we can just slide the camera over some, we've
Yep.
got another chair.
Yep, I'm trying to consolidate my stuff here. Sorry. Running late today. Yeah. 2 weeks she's singing Jingle.
Yep. All right, let's call this meeting to order. And we will start with the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, approval of the agenda. We just had some narcotics unit donation come in. And because we would need to add that to the payment of the bills, we're gonna kind of move this up to the clerk's report so that we can approve this or not approve it before we approve the bill pay.
Sounds good.
So we're gonna put it up with the clerk's report. Is there a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Support.
Motion support to approve the agenda as amended. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are to public time. There's a seat up here, there's a seat right there.
Two of them.
Two of them up here.
These are from Mrs. Valley, Dave's mom, so make sure they get the Scott.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, he was there.
Thank you.
Good morning.
All right, public time. Anything?
We're missing Phil, is he not coming?
3 minutes for anything that you'd like to speak about.
I'd like to do my library report.
Okay.
Start with some very good news. The library has hired a director. His name is Stephen Bannister. He comes from Tennessee. Him and his wife came for a visit last weekend, and I think he's gonna work out very well. I did attach the press release that tells a little bit about him. Did you get that?
Yes.
Okay, all right. He starts on the 23rd. So that's very, very good news. Other board business, we had a motion, motion into the director contract negotiations. That was at our regular business meeting that we would enter into negotiations with him. And then we had a special meeting on the 21st where his contract was actually accepted. We had two motions to amend bylaws. We were removing the Lapeer County Commissioner report because we never have one. And we reorganized the agenda so that second public time comes before board comments. We also passed a motion to amend the FOIA fee policy. We will begin charging for fees that reach $75 or more. We passed a motion to change the identification of the library sections to children, teens, adults. It was formerly children, young adult, adult, and then most recently it was changed to youth, young adult, and adult. And the motion will put it back, we'll put it to children, teens, and adult. Motion passed to move the board meeting to Oregon Township Hall. We won't be charged a fee there, so that's really nice. And we had a motion passed to change the board meeting schedule. Previously, we had no meeting in August, but we're gonna add that back on and have no meeting in December. We had discussion about the new Polaris ILS system that is coming into place, and it seems that there will be an option for parents and guardians to receive email notification of anything that their minor child checks out. That's very exciting to me. It appears it'll only be for new patrons. Notification will be for email only, and it may be possible for parents that already have their account set up as text. If they change it to email, they might possibly be able to have that option. That was unclear. The assistant director wasn't really sure about that. We had a new board member introduced, Chris Van Bell. We elected officers. Chris Van Bell is the chairperson. Carrie Coleman is the vice chairperson. Bonnie Lawrence is the treasurer, and Peggy Bratsy is the secretary.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
Scott, I was just wondering, if Lapeer County, if Lapeer County has any intentions of, joining, like Macomb, Oakland, Wayne, and Washtenaw on the mortgage fraud, stuff?
Wasn't there a letter that came
Yes.
out with the tax bills this year to sign up with the Register of Deeds for something such as that?
I don't know.
Yes, there was. I received one and I went and went up to the Register of Deeds and got that set up. It's very simple.
Mortgage fraud.
And they will notify you through email if there's anything fraudulently coming across in regards to your deed of your property.
Ingrid, we can get that for you.
Janelle's grabbing you one right now.
Okay, and second thing is, have you heard anything about data centers coming to the area?
There's talk of it. I've had conversations here, what Lapeer Township's thoughts were on data centers. I told them I said, this is my opinion only. I'm very much against it. I said, because they only want prime farmland. They don't want scrub land. They don't want wooded areas that they gotta clear. And that's just the water intake, the energy, the electricity, and the land they wanna take for a data center is ridiculous.
We talked a lot about it at the clerks meeting recently, and there were some clerks who were gonna start looking in to see if they need to do things with their ordinance or whatnot. Because pretty much, I think all clerks are on the same page and we're not interested in them.
I am now on a little ad hoc group, or whatever you might wanna call it, with the county health department. And that includes the health director, supervisor in Goodland, and the supervisor in Marathon. Marathon's got a big solar field coming in. Goodland's been fighting solar fields forever, but they're gonna include solar fields, battery storage, and data centers, and they're writing, the state trumps us in our ordinances, but it doesn't trump health code. So the health department is putting together an ordinance, they haven't gotten yet, but it will need to be included in individual townships' ordinances, I think. Just because if it's part of the regulations of getting one of these, you gotta follow all the ordinances, and the county is just as much part of it as the township, so they are working on something, but I've heard a lot of talk, because when the data center called me, they're looking for parcels 500 to 1,000 acres to do these data, several buildings. But now what they're talking about is many smaller data centers on 20-acre parcels and spreading them out, adding more of them to an area instead of having them in one centralized spot. And I'm still not for data centers. I'm one vote. I mean, it's the planning commission anyhow that they'd be coming through, but the planning commission does take their leads from us, so.
Anything in the county commission
Well,
on
let
that?
me make a couple of comments about that. Of course, the state has usurped local control over solar and wind, basically saying your ordinances can't be any more restrictive. In St. Clair County, used their health department to pass a thing to try to prevent solar farms, that they were noise pollution and that they were bad for your health, sort of on the basis that, our esteemed governor, of course, even when, during COVID, when she was told, oh, you can't put these restrictions, but your health department can, so they use the health department. The problem is, the St. Clair County Circuit Judge just last week struck down their ordinance.
Really?
Yes, which, I mean.
Well, and our health department's gonna be aware of that.
Oh, yeah, we've talked to our health department and our.
Jim Henry?
Yeah, at our policy and procedures meeting a couple months ago, went through a lot. In terms of data centers, of course, the real problem, many problems, is they don't provide any jobs.
Well, they're gonna tell you differently. They're gonna tell you
they're not.
differently.
The only jobs they provide is when they're
Building.
building. Once it's built, I mean, it's not like a car factory that they claim will.
But they're telling us that there's a huge property tax every year. But they'll get that exempt somehow.
And with regard to the mortgage fund, when you sign up, basically, they will tell you anytime there's activity on your property. And so like if you go and remortgage your house, you'll get notice. And you'll say, well, yeah, that was me, I did it. But of course, if somebody else slaps a lien on your house, which is what they try to do, then you'll say, no, that's not me. So it's really, it's saving you from having to go once a month or every 2 weeks to the Register of Deeds or on their website and finding out what's going on. They will tell you anytime there's activity on your property. And of course, if it's stuff that you did, you'll, fine.
Ingrid, you're banned from speaking until November because your conversation spurred on way too much.
That's cumulative, the minutes?
We're just carrying them over. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to speak. I'm John Van Wagner, Oregon Township. I stopped in this morning just to thank you all for you serving in your capacities that you do, and thank you for appointing Peggy Brodsky to the library board. Those of us who have taken an oath of office, we swore an oath to the Constitution, not only the United States Constitution, but the Michigan Constitution. And in the Michigan Constitution, under Article 8, it gives us guidance as to how we're to perceive education. I know most of us ignore the Constitution these days, haven't really read it that much. But the guidance is really, really cool on what it says.
Right here.
When it comes to education, it says, and it starts out, religion, morality, and knowledge, that being the foundation for good government and the happiness of mankind, in education shall forever be encouraged. And that guidance needs to be taken seriously. It also later tells us that the experts for a child is the parents, and that we as elected and appointed officials, and especially in the capacity of the library or that of the school board, is there to assist parents in their child's education. And our library board is going in an incredibly wonderful direction. Like you folks have appointed a person, we've got several other people who have been appointed, the newest being Chris Van Bell. You need to get to meet him. He's going to be a great chair. But they all take very seriously their oath of office and that guidance. And they take very seriously that they let their faith and their sense of our common morality, that which our country was established under, they take it seriously in all the decisions that they attempt to make. And they're doing a wonderful job in trying to help parents in the education and the protection and the discernment of what knowledge needs to be dispensed to the child when it should happen and when it should be held. So I just wanted to thank you guys for appointing them.
Anybody else? Go ahead. Oh, got your hand up?
No, sorry, no, I was moving the camera.
Okay. All right. Nobody else? We'll move on. The general correspondence is for review. We do have the January fire report. We were a little late getting that, but it did come in the last minute. Construction Code Authority minutes.
Oh gosh, guess we can do that.
filling chief.
I don't know if all of you know Officer Neil Childs, retired out of East Point PD, so he done his time down there, moved up to Lapeer Township, and decided he still kind of likes to do this. So, been a good fit. So in the one section here where it goes from 5 officers down to 4, Officer Seth Parsh had a baby girl last month, so he got the month off. He works full time for the city of here, and is one of our good part-timers. So there's 5 of us, not 4 as it says here. Starts out with the reports by month. This is all compiled by the chief, who was actually off for a couple weeks on vacation here. So you can kind of see what we run across and what we categorize, anything from assault matters to animal problems to that sort of thing. There's always little things we can tell you. Something comes to mind last week, they sent us to a deer accident and down on Hunters Creek Road on the gravel portion. You're allowed to run these new ATVs, the side-by-sides, that sort of thing. And this fella and this 2-year-old was puttering along down on Hunters Creek Road. And they notice in the big field that's empty there, and they look over and here's a deer. And that deer's pretty curious for them, and pretty soon a deer comes up along next to him, not on the road, but in the field. And he's prancing along, and he's just got a fascination with these people, riding on this nice new side-by-side. And the deer's traveling along, and it gets a little closer and a little closer, and they watch, and he said, when it got just about abreast of them, all of a sudden it turned and took a dive right under that 4x4, the big heavy one, it killed the deer. And they're going, what in the world was the animal thinking? But we hadn't handled an accident like that. Cars all the time, trucks all the time, but not this ATV. So, when you think you've seen it all, and along comes something that's just a little bit different. If you have questions, we can do that. The second page is calls for service. You see how many calls that would be that came to us through 911. Here in January, of course, along comes snow and the bad weather, and the people can't remember that it means it's slippery. And so that those climb to 22 accidents that we had last month versus December when the weather was good. Property checks, as you know, a lot of folks leave on vacation for these next couple of months. So we typically go house to house and know these houses, know these people, and check for those other things. So you can see the property checks. The second column for those is how many hours we spend doing that. So I guess unless you have questions, and the third is how many hours and how many counts of those that we actually handle. So remember, we're part-time. Yeah, remember, we're part-timers. So we work from 6 in the morning to 6 at night. You're welcome. So I recognize a lot of good faces here. Appreciate your support.
See, January a little bit busy, up 100 calls over December.
Yeah,
That's a busy month.
Yeah, as you know from doing all those years, you take what you get. But
Yeah, busy month.
Yeah, and there's a lot of older folks, a lot of deaths through the winter months. Sadly, Officer Neil here just was the one was it Friday? Yeah. In the Pine Lake Park, we hate to say it, trailer park. It's a very nice system in there, and we regret doing that too. We stay there and help the families as best we can. But something that has to be done, and if it's on scene, at home, thing like that, a medical examiner has to be called, and they come from the sheriff's office, and we do our best to assist there. So, but thank you again. Hope you have a good day.
Thank you. You guys are welcome to stay or go on patrol.
I think we better show them.
We'll give you a minute to get out of here.
Yeah.
Don't forget that fancy cup.
Thank you.
Take care. Enjoy the balance.
Thank you.
See you, buddy.
See you.
County Commissioner report.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, board members. We had 2 meetings in January. Our first meeting on January 8th was our organizational meeting. And we re-elected Gary Howell as chair and Brad Hagedorn as vice chair. I was reappointed as chair of the Policy and Procedures Committee, as well as a member of the Personnel Committee. I also serve as the County Commissioner representative on Community Mental Health, the Human Development Commission, which is a 4-county cooperative with Beats and Carroll, and the Historic Courthouse Committee. At our January 22nd board meeting, among other things, we approved $55,080 for annual radio support for Central Dispatch and $7,235 for cybersecurity assessment for Central Dispatch, because both those are paid out the 911 surcharge that we all pay on our phones. Doesn't come out of the general fund. We also accepted the fiscal year 2026 funding allocations from Michigan Department of Health and Social Services for various programs of the Health Department. A lot of what the Health Department is required to do by state law, the state does help pay for them. And of course, if the local health department says we're not going to do it, then the state's going to come in and do it, and we certainly would rather have our people do it than have the state. We also set a public hearing for March 12th for the 5-year park plan. And of course, Lapeer Township is a part of that.
They've got the plan here for public viewing.
Park plan. The other thing is, one of the big issues has been the flock license plate reader cameras. By a 4-3 vote, we voted to send a proposed contract for the flock license plate cameras to corporate counsel with written questions from the commissioners. We have not yet approved them, but the contract that Flock had, we weren't happy with. And one of the things we have always required in any long-term contract that we have the right to terminate. We just recently extended contracts for our county administrator, Moses Sansos, and Central Dispatch, Jeff Satkowski. Both of those, number one, there's always termination for cause, but just termination with very short, 30-day pay or whatever. And so that's one of the things we're looking, if we approve the flock cameras. Of course, the flock cameras with the sheriff is asking for is 24 cameras. And the initial cost is $104,600, and then $83,500 a year for 4 years. So they're expensive. And if for some reason the sheriff decided they weren't what he wanted, or we got a new sheriff who didn't want it, we need to be able to terminate that contract without having to pay the whole amount. So we're waiting to see that, and that's going to be at the committee of the whole meeting.
Is that price, when that $104,000 you're talking about, is that Lapeer owning the cameras, or?
Yeah, Lapeer.
You would own, Lapeer County would own those cameras?
Yes. Yeah.
If you terminate it, they're your cameras to get rid of, they don't take it back.
And of course, the thing from talking to the sheriff, where I think they are going to put most of them is on the entrance and exits to I-69. Because the whole idea is to find people who are committing crimes here and are fleeing back to Genesee County or vice versa. Metamora Township has 2 cameras. They have one stationed, one at 24 in Dryden. I know they has solved some stolen vehicle issues, and they have another one down in the village. And of course, it's become a controversial proposal because people are concerned about invasion of privacy. Well, of course, anybody who carries one of these, I tell you what, they invade your privacy a whole lot more than it.
I see that the state is going to be implementing cameras at work zones on the expressway now too.
Well, the other one in Lapeer County right now is at the prison. They have one outside the prison, which actually picks up on the sheriff's department's parking lot as well.
So these are not in car, and none of them are in car then?
No,
They're all stationary?
they're all stationary,
Okay.
and the data stays for 30 days. And the local police department decides who it has access to that. Sheriff McKenna has stated he will not let the feds have access to it. But, you know, the state police need access, because we work with the state police
Right.
and the other counties. And one of the things they talk about is when an elderly person might have dementia and leaves and they can't find them, they get the license plate, and if it goes by one of the cameras, they know where they are. So,
They know where they're headed.
so anyway, and so that's still a big issue in front of the board. Any questions, I'm happy to try to answer.
Thank you. About the minutes of the January 12th regular meeting. I entertain a motion to approve.
Make motion.
Support.
Motion support to approve the minutes as presented for the January 12th, 2026 regular meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report for January. Nancy?
Yep, just starting our last full week of collecting taxes without penalty. And then we'll have obviously an additional couple weeks before they get sent to the county. But so far so good, no problems to talk about.
I'll make the motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Motion support to approve the treasurer's report as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Clerk's report. Sam? Start with the TNU, so that can get out of the way. I'll start with the TNU. This just came in. TNU is looking for their local yearly contribution. And we have always supported the TNU. And we have always, most generally with the, it used to be, they used to figure it out per capita. The number changed sort of every year per capita. But then they stopped doing that, and we've usually always contributed $1,200. The one year they made a big bust in Lapeer Township, we contributed more that year for their extra work. But I think that it's an important organization to support, and it's my recommendation anyhow to go $1,200 for the $1,200 contribution.
I'll support that. You're making the motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll support it then.
Good enough.
Okay.
Motion and support to contribute $1,200 yearly contribution to the TNU. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now you can go to your payment of the bills.
Are there any questions on the bills? There wasn't any major, I didn't actually have any, or there was 2 road bills, but nothing big like we had last month. So everything's pretty normal. Right now we're getting all of our yearly dues and yearly expenses, so.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $63,815.42.
Support.
Motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Samantha, would you poll the board?
Nancy?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Sam? Yes.
Bills are paid. Anything else, Sam?
No, I'll leave this next reading. Okay. I am looking to, appoint Amy British Nolan, she's our assessor. as the deputy clerk. Janelle is currently, but I'm looking to appoint her as deputy clerk for the purpose of, if I'm not able to be here, she knows BSNA, she knows all the accounting stuff, to do payroll and pay bills.
And Amy was a former clerk of North Branch
Branch,
Township.
right.
She didn't run again in 2024. Janelle's still gonna be election assistant, so the day-to-day tasks, absentee voting, all that up to election. It's literally gonna be as I need her. She'll come in if she needs to, but she's here Wednesday, once a week. So yeah, I just would feel a lot better if I had a deputy that can pay the bills and do payroll if I can't be here.
We feel better about that too.
Yeah, if something happens.
Payroll part, yeah.
To me, so,
Well, I'll make the motion to appoint Amy Bridger Snowblin as Samantha's deputy clerk at Lapeer Township.
I'll support that.
Motion and support. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Hopefully you took time to read it. The poverty exemption, if you remember, we approved
Yeah.
the poverty exemption in December.
Right.
And as I got looking at other poverty exemptions, we were just missing a lot of the MCL numbers, and our poverty exemption was quite old. It just hadn't been updated. And I got looking at other townships' poverty exemption resolutions. They were just a lot more detailed than ours. And
Have we had anybody claim it?
not lately.
No.
I'm guessing 8 or 10 years ago was the last time we had a poverty exemption in Lapeer Township. It was funny, the very first year, the second year I was supervisor, they hadn't had any poverty exemptions come into the board review then either. And a lady came in and had her application filled out, all the information that we'd asked for, and the board review won't make decisions in front of the people. They'll make them later. So the next day when they were making decisions at the March board review, the chairman of the board review said, well, we can't make somebody tax, property tax exempt. That's just not right. And I said, is it right for you to do something that this person can't afford and take their property from them? Well, not really. I said, then she's filled out the application and we looked at it and we think it's correct, so you have no choice. And after that, we had 2 or 3 a year for a couple of years. We did catch a lady lying once. And it was the funniest story. She was sitting there lying through her teeth, and it just so happened, Bill was our police chief at the time. He come walking through the office in his uniform, and I think she thought that we called the police chief. And she started backpedaling right away. So I appreciate you that day, Bill.
Well, thank you. Good to know.
But I would propose this new poverty exemption resolution to the board while rescinding the one that we approved in December.
You making the motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll support it.
That motion does call for the rescinding of the earlier approved one and adopting of the one before you. Is there any discussion? This is upon a roll call vote. And just, I see on the one that we had signed before, we didn't put who made the motion, who supported in the roll call vote on the resolution. Make sure we get it on the new one.
Scott,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Sam, yes.
All right, resolution approved. At this time, at 9:04, I would like to open the budget public hearing. There was budgets over here if anybody wanted to pick one up. These are proposed budgets. That is all they are, is proposed.
I mean, unless any of you have a question about a specific thing, if you notice I missed the line at all. I think there's a chance that things could change for March, especially because right now we're waiting road numbers, we haven't got.
This was our fiscal year ending March 31st. I'm putting road budgets together without knowing road numbers. So it's kind of a guess. A budget is kind of a guess.
Yeah.
But the road numbers could change. I don't think they're gonna change high, but I think they could come down some.
Yeah, I think we went high.
I think we acted a little high on the road.
And then as like stuff like the 10-year or yearly dues and whatnot are coming in right now, if I notice, oh, they upped it as they come in right now at the beginning of the year, if they could, some little things may
And if we
change.
know this information before next month, then when we approve the budget, those numbers will change.
Well, we can make adjustments as we go.
But I just don't know if there's anything, any questions about it, or?
The total, and this is a public hearing, if there's questions from you folks, don't be afraid to ask. It looks like the proposed estimated revenue is 1.6. So that's what we sort of base our budget on, but we do have money in savings to make up differences too. If you remember last year, we got into that money significantly for Maple Grove Road.
Rainy day fund.
And then we're starting to go through different departments here on the expected expenditures. So if you have any questions on a certain department, feel free to ask.
I looked through the whole thing, looks like you did a great job.
Samantha did do a great job.
Absolutely.
It's a team effort, but Samantha does most of the stuff on her computer and has all the numbers from, excellent job. These numbers, and which we will go over later in the agenda, do reflect proposed salary increases. So these numbers won't change with approvals or they could change with disapprovals, but these numbers reflect
The changes.
agenda items later on.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing I had to add was, since we're doing that Wind Lake SAD, I contacted the auditor to ask how, because I haven't had to do a budget with that to show, we're expending for the road project, but yet you have to balance it out with a revenue of some sort, but it's a special assessment district, so I had him help me with that, so we added a line item there.
What was the total on that? Wind Lake, remember?
It's roughly 235 estimate.
Yeah, 235 is what we got in here.
Okay.
Your election stuff, did you feel you had that pretty well figured last year for the early voting, or did you?
Well, last year we didn't have an election, so that's why I always put, like on my worksheets, I didn't wanna confuse you guys, but on my worksheets when I'm doing it, I have 2 years' budgets, 2 previous years' budgets, and what the actual activity was to go off of. Because like last year's budget, or this one we're in, didn't have an election, so I had to look at the previous year. So I always I look between the previous 2 years, because things happen one year that didn't happen the next. And yeah, I don't think in the last election cycle we had to buy a lot more equipment, and
May have to again, we don't know, for the next one.
I don't think we're gonna have to.
Oh, good.
At the last clerk's meeting we haven't talked about it. I think we're good for this 2026 cycle.
And you can see the road budget is approximately 360,000 less than last year. And our proposed expenditures are about 1.7 million, compared to our revenue coming in of approximately 1.6.
I do have one question. On page 2, the 5th item down, the township planning application fee, I just see, like, all of the other numbers seem to be pretty consistent from year to year. That one has for 25 to 26, the original budget 330, and then the activity was 2,650, and then the requested budget for 26, 27 is 330.
You could up it, but there's been years where nobody's come in, so then if you up it to 2,000 or something and nobody, you get one, that's 330 or whatnot, then it's.
This is on the revenue side.
Yeah, I usually don't up the application ones as much unless it's been very consistent in the past few years where you've had things come in, because we've had years where we didn't have a single ZBA for a whole year.
So you think like 25, 26 was an exception to the norm? Pretty much,
It really just depends on if there's activity of people, like, those are usually site plans.
Okay.
So we did have one site plan. There's years where you don't have any. And those are like the bigger hitting ones. If it's like just the oversized accessory building, it's the 330.
Realistically, when you start adding too much into your revenue, I mean, if we don't get it, then we're falling ourselves short later.
You could add some and it would make the offset of revenue and expenditures look better, but then if you don't actually get that, then you're, I overshoot more on the expenditures of like what we're giving rather than the revenue, because you don't really want to say, oh, we're gonna get all this and then you don't.
Yeah.
To me, that's the right way to do it. Is there anything else from the public in regards to the budget, proposed budget? So I think that I would at least, I mean, do we need a motion to approve the proposed budget, or is just a looking at it?
It's just a public hearing, just to look at
Okay.
it.
Hearing no other questions at 9:12 a.m., we will close the public hearing. All right. We have the salary resolutions, which need to be done the month prior to our March meeting. Most generally, this board, we have not had an annual meeting in years. We've tried every way. We've held annual meetings on Saturday, late mornings, trying to get participation. We've had annual meetings during our board meeting, trying to get participation. And several years ago, we just stopped having annual meetings because nobody came. You'd get two people that have always been to every one, that they're part of appointed commissions around this township anyhow. They would always come to meetings. So we approve our own salaries here, Lapeer Township. And we go by the cost of living, and we don't do it every year, generally. We go every other year.
We didn't do it last year, did we?
We haven't done it past
2 years.
2 years.
Has it been two? But this year we have chosen to, the cost of living for this past year was 2.7%, and we are asking for 3%. And the way that we do that is all our salaries are different. The 2 trustees are the same, but the clerk, treasurer, and supervisor salaries are different. So we will take the number of 3%, because that's what we settled on. We'll take the clerk's salary, 3% of the treasurer's salary, and 3% of the supervisor's salary. We'll add those 3 numbers together and divide it by 3, and that number is the wage increase for all 3 of us, so that the increase is the same. So that we don't keep getting further and further apart.
That was,
That was
concern.
big time with the police department.
Right, that's why I was concerned before.
So that is how we come up with our numbers that we come up with. So the first one on the docket is for the supervisor. And the the yearly salary increase was at $33,950, but this resolution calls for $35,110 base salary. I entertain a motion to approve this salary resolution.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
Motion and support to approve the salary resolution of the township supervisor. Is there any further discussion? On a roll call vote, Sam?
Bill,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Sam,
The next one is for the clerk. And this salary resolution calls for $46,160 base salary, plus $500 per election, plus $500 per mandated early voting. And that is an increase from 2025 of $45,000. I would make the motion to approve the clerk's salary resolution.
I'll support.
Motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Sam, roll call?
Scott, Bill,
Yes.
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Sam.
Resolution adopted. The next one is for the office of treasurer. And this salary resolution calls for a base salary of $38,110, up from $36,950 from last year. I would make the motion to approve the salary resolution for the treasurer.
Support.
Motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Samantha, poll the board, please.
Scott,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Sam,
Resolution adopted. And the next resolution is for the office of trustee. And the base salary for a trustee will be $6,252, up from $6,070 previous year. I make that motion.
I'll support.
Motion and support. Any further discussion? Samantha, would you poll the board?
Scott,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Sam,
Resolution adopted. Should we, since Bill's not here, should we drop his?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have to approve some wage increases. Like I said, those wage increases were built into our proposed budget. And,
Was that the same percentage then for?
yeah, great.
yeah,
Okay.
so can we just do this all as one motion, or you go?
Like how I usually do it is you do it as one motion, and in the minutes I list each like department that's getting an increase and like a chart.
Okay. We do have a number for the new, I'm sorry, that's deputy treasurer. deputy treasurer will go from, will be raised to $17.50 an hour. And by looking here, Samantha, I don't know what it was last year. It's a 3% increase. Okay. The deputy clerks.
That's a new line item. It's just an hourly wage as she's needed.
As needed, will be $21 an hour for the deputy clerk. The police chief will go from $35 to $36. The sergeant will go from $32, go to $33 from $32. And the officer new scale, is that starting, is Samantha, is this
So like when they
a
first
new officer hires in at
yeah.
$29.50 as opposed to $28.50? After 6 months, you'll move up to $30.50 instead of $29.50. 13 months and over, $31 as opposed to $30. And the reserve, Ed Jameson, who helps the office assistant in the police department, we give him a quarterly check. And we used to pay him $500 a quarter. We're gonna now pay him $600 a quarter. And the election inspector was previously at $14 an hour, and the election inspector will now go to $15 an hour. And that is all of the employees' raises that we are proposing. Janelle's in there.
Okay.
It's like the office assistant slash
Right.
deputy treasurer.
We thought about not adding Janelle, but
Yeah,
we
I
decided to. So I would entertain a motion to approve these salary increases for employees.
I'll make that motion as stated.
I'll support.
Motion and support to approve the additional wage as stated from these papers. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Now we are back to public time for anything you'd like to speak about.
I'm leaving.
You're leaving? Okay. Ingrid, I know that you and Vaughn attended the MTA meeting last year with the road commission as their annual meeting. It's not on here, but the MTA meeting is the third Tuesday of the month. It's in Elba this year, if you and Vaughn are wanting to come. And if I find that date to be different than what I just told you, I'll give you a call.
Third Tuesday of February?
Yep, in Elba, and that starts at 7.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Everybody?
I was reminded that as a member of the school board, I probably should give a school board update if you would so choose.
You got 3 minutes to speak whatever you want
Fantastic. It's
to.
probably the first school board update that you've ever received. But this last month, we did have a meeting on, and there is a shortfall in the budget, and there is already been options for resolving that shortfall and restructuring. You can see the details of that, of the budget and the restructuring options, if you view the video of our meeting that just happened last week. You can get that on YouTube or lapeerschools.org. You can find it there. Also, the whole appropriateness or age appropriateness of books in the school library has also been approached with members of the public, and you can see that on the video, and with the resolution as to how we're going to approach resolving that issue. Superintendent Wandry has, using our bylaws 2591, is going to enact that bylaw and create a committee to review what books are in there. You know, I would also add with that it would seem common sense that any material that is seen as pervasively vulgar under the 1982 PICO rule by the Supreme Court, by the Miller Act, any material that is withheld from prisoners in the Michigan Department of Corrections, any material that can't be viewed publicly on cameras has to be restricted, are probably all things that should be taken into account as if they're appropriate for our children or not, right? That's that on that point, and I'd like to invite all of you to the grand opening of our Performing Arts Center. It will be open tonight for viewing from 6 to 8 p.m.
I was on TV this morning.
It was 5 o'clock this morning. You know, most people don't realize that our staff, they're in communication with each other by 4:30 in the morning, every single morning. And a lot of times our administrative staff, they're not done until 8 or 9 in the evening. I mean, I can't say how proud I am of our administrative staff and the way that they handle things and take care of our kids in our community. So.
All right, well, thanks. Anytime you want to come to a meeting and give a school board report, feel free.
Okay.
After the meeting, I'd like to talk to you.
Sure.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yes. You broached the subject already, but yeah, I wasn't sure if you heard about the books being pulled from the Lapeer County schools, so I wanted to briefly address that. Last Sunday, Fight for the First showed the documentary The Librarians, which addresses the disturbing number of books being banned nationwide at the Pigs Theater. And we had a Q&A with a few librarians after the movie. The day after that, a complaint apparently filed by one individual with Lapeer County Schools resulted in 82 books that were in our schools being pulled from the shelves without any sort of consideration. Assisting with this attack on our constitutional First Amendment rights is a group called Take Back the Classroom. They are an organized group with a specific agenda to assist local community groups that have the same agenda, which is to get books they don't approve of banned. Most, if not all of the books fall under the category of either racially diverse or LGBTQ+. These are the same types of books the library board has also been focused on. Take Back the Classroom has on their website all of the schools across the country where books are being attacked, as well as the specific books that supposedly have sexually inappropriate content. So this group played a role in not only getting the books removed, but in identifying the specific books they wanted to help remove. At the school board meeting last week, book banners and those opposed to banning books showed up to speak, probably based on some of the pushback the board got from the public for pulling these books. The board decided to place the books under district review instead of outright removing them. I'm bringing all of this up because Ms. Brodsky was one of the people who spoke in favor of having these books removed, meaning they'd be banned. This contradicts her claims that she and others on the library board don't support the banning of books. She may say that it's different when you're talking about books in the schools versus the district library. However, this doesn't seem to make sense when you consider that the same types of books, even some of the same books, are being targeted. Again, these books are mostly dealing with race and the LGBTQ+ community. And for the most part, they are children's and young adult books. If someone supports banning books in one of these contexts, it's unclear how it can be believed that someone wouldn't support it in the other. I was hoping Ms. Brodsky would be willing to speak about this apparent contradiction.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Did you sign in?
No.
Do you care to sign in?
I will.
Okay.
As I leave, I will.
Okay.
Really quick.
Thank you.
I'm just here. My name's Dalton. I'm running for state senate. And
stand up and introduce yourself.
Yeah, sounds good. Hello, everyone. My name is Dalton. I'm running for state senate. I've met some of the people here, and I own a company called Stoneyard Landscape Center at the corner of Gare Road and Birch Run Road at the last light going into Frankenmuth, Michigan from the south. You guys all get flyers in the mailbox from me 2 or 3 times a year. yellow ones, just jump me out in case you need it, you know. But what I do is I'm going to every different township meeting, every city council meeting, every village council meeting, and just introducing myself to the people at the meeting. A few of these people I've met, you know, I see you guys often. And, but I just want to make sure I'm in touch with the local elected officials like yourselves. You know, there's a
You
lot
got
of
cards?
small. Yeah, I got cards for everybody. Nice to meet you guys. Nice to meet you, Supervisor.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've been endorsed by over 100 business owners in our community. You know, so, nice to meet you. Hey, nice to meet you in the back
Nice
there
to
too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, leave a card for our trustee that's not here.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, my Facebook page is on the back. You guys can check it out. Hey, nice to meet you, man. Yep. Hey, nice to meet you, sir. I've seen you at one of your meetings too. I see this guy over here all the time. We run into each other. Hey, how's it going? Hey, nice to meet you again. Hey, nice to meet you again. And nice to meet you, ma'am. But if you guys ever have any questions for me, my phone number is on the back. I'm not a politician. My background is in business. I started 12 years ago at $1,200. I don't come from money. I come from a single mom. You know, I just a lot of hard work. Our place there is across the street from the Antique Mall, and it's actually the busiest corner in Saginaw County. So if you guys ever go to Frankenmuth, you usually travel from the south, coming from this way, and you'll pass our place. Brand new facility there. So
Not a politician, but you want to be one.
well, I want to represent us. My business has finally kind of run itself, and I need something to do with my extra time, and I just think I could contribute, you know, good life experience to state senate. So.
Nice meeting you and good luck.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm gonna
Yep.
try and see if I can't get the elbow down.
Okay.
See ya. Yep.
Anybody else?
Thank you. I'm just gonna read a statement that I prepared. Fight for the First Lapeer is putting forth great effort to discredit current board members and those associated with them. GLTA is now on the radar because the executive director, Kelly Bales, served on a library policy and bylaw committee. Their previous efforts include setting up a booth at Lapeer Days that was self-promoted to be a campaign against the newest board members. They have labeled us as the book banning majority. We have been called racist, Nazis, and most recently, white Christian nationalists. It is my opinion that the efforts of Fight for the First Lapeer are going beyond their freedoms of expression and crossing over legal boundaries. They use inflammatory tactics that could easily incite violence. Messages that library board members are biased and that we are aiming to target the gay community members are being widely spread. Most recently at an event at the Pix Theater, it was announced that the Lapeer Township Supervisor appointed someone that threatened library staff. I have concern that the efforts of the Fight for the First Lapeer are becoming more extreme. At a recent school board meeting, Ms. Huff pushed against me as she passed by me, even though there was plenty of room for her to pass by me without physical contact. While it can be argued that that was accidental, I witnessed a second incident involving another library board member. After Susan Huff gave her public comment, she stopped to confront this board member who was seated in the audience. She bent down to come just inches from the board member's face and asked, "You got a problem with me?" She then proceeded to scold the board member for simply looking at her. Her behavior caught the attention of others who heard this interaction and turned to express concern to this board member. There is video evidence of this. The main reason I'm speaking about all of this is to give a different perspective on the motives of Fight for the First Lapeer group. In my opinion, their members speak at these Lapeer Township meetings with the goal of making you sorry that you appointed me to the library board. They speak wanting a reaction from me so they can twist, deflect, or dismiss my words. I welcome you to contact me directly if you have concerns about anything you hear, see, or read regarding my actions on the library board. I stand behind my reasons for requesting the Lapeer Township appointment, and I will continue my efforts to protect children. This is something I am not embarrassed of, and I will never apologize for. While not all arguments are worth the energy, protecting children should always be worth the effort.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing nobody else to speak, Bill, how about an EMS report?
Well, we settled our contract, we got our budget done. We're gonna try working on getting law enforcement in for EMT classes. Something we're working on, being that I know usually we were the first ones on location of most accidents, so we're gonna see about offering it to all the police officers in the county. If we can
Are a
set
lot
up
of
classes.
are a lot of police officers credited?
No. I don't think there's any right now that are EMTs, so this is something we're working on, I've been working on with the sheriff's department, and maybe set up a meeting with the chief's meeting and make the offer and work something out. That's just something we're in the first stages of, working on.
Okay.
Other than that, everything is running great.
Good. Phil's not here for the planning commission report. Sam, is there anything you need to touch on for planning commission or not?
No, we have the rezoning, coming in March, and then the site plan will be next after
That rezoning isn't happening in February?
We don't have a February meeting because it's President's Day.
Oh.
We've never had February meetings.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Like I said, I was telling Ingrid before, the MTA meeting will be in Elba. It is the Lapeer County Road Commission's annual meeting that day too. So if any board members would like to come, we are trying to get a little more participation.
When is that?
It would be the third Tuesday at 7 p.m. and this month is in Elba Township.
Okay, look.
And with that being said, meeting adjourned.